Ooh, you are live. Let me tell you something, family. Good morning. First off, it's your girl, Michelle Franklin, Miss Michelle D.I., Miss Community Builder herself, honey. When I tell you the amount of technical difficulties I have had to get this thing up and running, I started last night. We're not going to focus on that because what you focus on is just, it overcomes you. So guess what? Not focusing on that, but just saying somebody must need this message out here today because the devil is busy. Busy trying to deter me from not getting this message out. But what's going on is it is your girl again, Miss Michelle DIY, because divine intervention, honey, there are no coincidences in this world, only God's divine intervention in our lives. That's what I believe wholeheartedly. And for those of you that don't know me, community builder is just, I bring resources, I bring information. I am a nurse. I've been a 22 years now. Mother, a sister, a auntie, a Gigi. Um, somebody's Gigi, y'all. But I'm also an advocate. I'm also one who just has always, from the core of me, since I was a little girl, loved to help people. I'm that person that you're talking to, and you're like, why am I telling this person all my business? I just met her. Yeah, that's me. People say that to me all the time, even from when I was a little girl. And so now, what I've known and what I know for sure is that that is my gift. Um, when my mom, real quick, when my mom was pregnant with me, and she found out that I was going to be a girl, she said that she prayed that God would make me the opposite of her and that I would utilize my voice because she's one of those people. She felt like, I guess at that time, that she would allow people to run over her, or she wouldn't speak up for herself and or speak up for others. And so um, she said, I'm the reason why. She knows that God exists because what she prayed me to be, I am. And so I think that's amazing, in that I knew that story, and I knew that my voice was one of those things, but I did not know that that was my gift. At least I didn't acknowledge it as my gift. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because understanding and getting to know yourself, who you are in this world, not only who you are, but whose you are in this world makes a difference. If you don't know that, right? And some people don't. And I didn't for a long time. Like, everybody know you can do a little something, but just knowing who you are and whose you are, I think makes a tremendous difference. And that is my why. It is um, just wanting people to know. Because once you know who you are, it allows you to walk in your gift. And when you walk in your gift, you inspire other people to walk in theirs, right? I've had so many people. Think about how many people you watch on TV. Your Oprahs, your Tyler Perrys, you know what I mean? Your Cicely Tysons, your Maya Angelos, you know what I mean? Your Nelson Mandelas, you know what I mean? Where would we be in this world had they not stepped into purpose? Where would we be without, of course, our Martin Luther Kings, our Malcolms, right? Where would we be? But even, those are the people that made it to this grandiose stage. Where would we be without the everyday people? Think about your teacher. You know what I mean? Your favorite teacher from school. Think about, your favorite person that might have poured into you, that dad, that uncle, that brother, that sister, your everyday people. Like, where would you be without their voice and their role in your life? I think those are the things that we take for granted, the everyday people. And so for me, I'm here to shed light on the everyday people and everyday circumstances that we tend to take for granted. And we don't look at it like, you know what, Sister Jean, third grade, poured into me. You know what I mean? Everybody that has come into your life and that has brought me to where I am today. My aunts, my uncles, my dad, my mom. You know what I mean? I have people. Some people don't have one person that they feel like, but it's been somebody, even if you acknowledge it or not. So I'm here to talk about faith. I'm doing 30 days of faith. 30 days of what is it? What is faith? Right? I left a video, voice message yesterday. If you haven't, check it out. Go to my page, Facebook, check it out. But it is faith. What is faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. What does that mean? That means even if I can't see it, I can't quite put my hands on it, right? I don't know what it is, what this driving force is. What is this God that you're talking about? This is not about converting people to Christianity or converting you to anything, but it is about having a sense of there's something greater out in this world and inside of you, right? There's something greater. And when you understand that and you know that, because some people are so tangible, like they got to see it. Where is it? I can't see it. Does it really exist? Like, what is that thing? And it's some things that exist in this world that we can't see, but they are playing a tremendous role in our lives if you let it, right? And faith is one of those things that helped me. I can remember being younger and, my mom was divorced at that time from my stepfather. And we went every year, we moved from house to house to house. It's just my mom wasn't. Of course, you go from a 2-income household to a 1-income household. Of course, you're not financially stable, right? That's just the reality of the situation. And so she wasn't financially stable. And so we moved every year, right? We moved every year. And I can remember coming home from school one day and our things were being put outside. And I remember very vividly my mom on the phone and she was crying and praying. And, she hung up the phone and she was just praying. And I remember we drove and we went to Lake Trout to get something to eat. And we were sitting there and my mom was just sitting in the parking lot and she was just crying. She was crying and she was praying. And I don't know, I was young, so I didn't know what was going on or what all was happening or whatever, but I know that everything worked out, right? Everything worked out. And that was, instances like that. I remember as a young girl, just started laying my foundation of faith when I didn't even know. But I've been witness to situations that seemingly wasn't going to work out or didn't know how they were going to work out, but they worked out. And I came to this faith walk also because many of you know, some don't, that my nephew passed away. And when I was driving, my brother lives 4 hours from me in Austin. And so on the first time that I went down, I went a couple times, but nevertheless, the first time that I went down on my way back, you know how you're just in a situation where you're feeling like, what could I have done? What could I say? What You know what I mean? It's all of this stuff. Like you feel helpless, you know, and then you start thinking about the other person. Like, I thought about my nephew and what was he feeling and what was he thinking and all of this stuff. And this was in the very beginning. So we had no information. So on that first drive back, I just remember feeling like I kept seeing the word hopeless. There's a hopelessness that's out there in this world, and so many people are feeling it. I teach about breaking the stigma of depression, anxiety, panic attacks, PTSD, our mental health in African Americans because, and just in people, because there are 1 in 5. This is statistically 1 in 5. And that's just the people that we know of that are suffering from something, some mental anguish, be it depression, be it anxiety, be it panic attacks, be it all three, be it PTSD, right? We're all suffering from this unprocessed trauma that maybe we dealt with in childhood or haven't dealt with from childhood, right? We're all dealing with stuff. We're all dealing with something. But nevertheless, we just go and do and be and go and do and be as if we're not. And so driving back from, seeing my brother's pain, seeing my niece's pain, knowing what was to come in the days, knowing the grief that was coming, knowing that the helplessness is out there, the hopelessness. I thought, what could I do? And the Lord laid this on me to talk about that hopelessness that people are feeling. That maybe, if there's this, people know about faith because you can't see it. Faith is, I am in this crazy ass situation. I don't know when it's going to be over. I don't know what it is. All I know is that I'm in darkness and it's consuming me, right? It's consuming me. And you just feel like it's never going to end. I don't know about you, but I've been in situations like that. Where I've been in situations where I'm just like, when is it going to be over? How long? I've been where I've thought of, I've had suicidal tendencies. I've had thoughts of suicide. Like, it's just too much. Has anybody out there felt that way? It's just too much. It's too much. Is it ever going to be over? When? We want to know, right? And faith is I'm walking. Psalms 29, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. There's evil all around me. There's evil lurking on my shoulder, telling me these negative things, all of the negative self-talk, consuming my brain, telling me that it's not going to be over, that it's never going to end. Oh, just go ahead and do it. Oh, nobody cares. Nobody will notice. There is a hopelessness out there that exists in this world. And I feel like given all of the crazy, right? The Romans 8:28, given all of the crazy, I feel like the good, the bad, and the crazy, it all works together. I've gone through all of the crazy that I've endured. You've gone through all of the crazy that you've endured so that you can reach back to say, hey, it is dark right now. It's going to be some other darkness coming. It may come again. Storms are going to come, but trouble don't last always. That's faith. Knowing that trouble don't last always, right? And so I just want to give. So that's what we're doing this month. We are showing that there's some light at the end of the tunnel, right? In your finances, in your relationships? Have you ever been in a relationship where you just felt like, oh my God, how am I going to make it without this person? Oh my God, I just knew and I thought and it was going to be this and that and whatever else. You're going to make it. It's been done. They're not the only ones. There's somebody out there that'll treat you the way that you deserve to be treated, right? Relationships and situationships and on a job, you know what I mean? The crazy that happens, all of the stuff, right? And friendships. And then even in the relationship that you have with yourself. In the relationship that you have with yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's the biggest of it all, right? Thanks, brother. Yes, that's the relationship that you have within yourself. And so that is what we're doing this month. We are walking in faith. We are looking at faith situations. We are believing and trusting. And it's amazing, Roderick, that you're on right now because I thought about you so much. I was thinking about when I initially started taking this intentional look at myself and my behavior and how I wanted to show up in this world and what I wanted to do to be different and what I needed to do, right? Because it is all about you, right? Roger taught me this. He was the first person I heard say, while you have one finger pointed at everybody else, you got 3 fingers pointed back at you. So what can I do? How can I walk differently? How can I show up differently? What do you need in this world? What do you need from your higher source, be it God or whoever you believe in? Like, what do you need? How are you going to show up differently? How are you supposed to be in this world? What are you supposed to be doing? Right? All of it. All of it. And so I don't believe in coincidences, right? Only God's divine intervention. Yes, honey, I remembered, Roderick. That was one of the most significant things in my life. It was all life altering for me because it is taking accountability for yourself. If you are in, your finances are not where they're supposed to be, I could blame each and every, oh my God, I got this to do. I had this to do. You know, that girl called me for this and my daughter called me this and she asked me this and he did that to me and blah, 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 blah. But if I was handling my money right, would I be living paycheck to paycheck? You know what I mean? Like, you got to get to a point in your life where you are taking accountability for yourself, for your actions. It's so easy. It's so much easier to say what somebody else is doing to you or have done to you and hold that person responsible for everything else in your life, all the downfalls and all the pitfalls. My ex-husband came home and said he didn't want to be married anymore. I had a decision to make at that point. I could have took my baby girl and been in this woe is me, right? I started drinking. Y'all. I was drinking, and I was drinking. I've been drinking. Yeah, I was drinking. Right? And I could have stayed in that place. I could have been well justified. Your husband came home. Yeah, girl, have a drink. Have another one. Girl, have 2. I could have stayed in that place. I made a conscious decision that I didn't want to handle my problems like that anymore. I didn't want to do it. I made the decision. I made a choice. How are you showing up in this world? What are you doing? Right? So, as I said, we're going to be talking about our 5 for 30 days, y'all. We're going to unpack this thing as we journey in this faith walk. What do you believe in and trust in God for? Roderick said to me when I started fasting, I entered this group, y'all. I was just in this place where I was so sick of myself. I was just sick of me. You know what I mean? You ever looked yourself in the mirror like, what are you doing? Who are you? What's wrong? Like, what's going on? What's going on with you? What happened? Have you ever looked yourself in the mirror, right? And had that honest conversation with yourself? What's going on with you? That's where I was at, right? And I got to a point where I said, Lord, wherever you lead and guide me to, because I don't believe in coincidences. I said, Lord, wherever you lead me and guide me to, okay, I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to be open, because I was very much closed. You couldn't introduce me to nothing new. You couldn't tell me what I didn't know was already what it is. I didn't want to know anything else. I was definitely tired of me. You got to get sick and tired. My girlfriend Kiana says that all the time. Yo, you sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're going to change. You're going to do something about it. Right? And that's where I was at that point. And so I was just open. And so God led me to this fasting group. And Roderick was was facilitating this fasting group with this other amazing guy, Chris. And shut up, Kevin. Talking about when you and your brother banged me. Kevin, you was being a bully, so you needed to get beat up. But it is, yes, you needed to change because you was being a bully. So it was this, it was this thing of, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? And so God led me to the group. He's so funny. God led me to the group, and I was like, Roderick, he said, I got a journal. He was like, I want you to write down, what do you want? Now I keep a journal, right? I keep a journal. So I'm going to say this to you guys, like, get a journal and write this stuff down. Like, what do you want in your life? You know what I mean? What do you want from what do you want from God? Like, what do you want? What do you want your next 5 years to look like? What do you want to build for your children? I want generational wealth. You know what I mean? For me, generational wealth is way more than money. You know what I mean? It is an abundance of love, faith, joy, happiness, peace. Like when you've been in situations where you ain't had no peace, you done came home and you ain't got peace at home. To have peace is priceless, right? Priceless. I said, Roderick, how many things can I ask for? Like, how many things can I put on my list? He was like, how big is your God? I was like, really? Is it that simple? Like, for real? He was like, yeah. Write it down. What do you want? What do you trust? What do you believe? Because that's what it boils down to is when you want your life to be different, when you in a place where you just like, what the hell? This is not the life that I know I'm not supposed to be right here in this space. Like when you in that space, for real, guess who got the power to change it? While you looking for handouts and looking for somebody to give you something, guess what? Hey, let me tell you something, Kevin. You better do it. You better damn do it. Me. You DJing. You DJing, so guess what? Might as well put a little tune to it. Let me tell y'all something. People talk about me all the time in my singing, but guess what? I don't care. I know sometimes I can hold a note and sometimes I can't, but guess what? I'm singing anyway. It don't even matter. It don't even matter. What are you willing to go for? That's what I'm saying. Like, what are you willing? What are you willing? And guess who's worth it? That's the other part that I realized what happened with me is that if you would have just asked me, if I had a problem with unworthiness, if I love myself enough or what, I'd be like, hell yeah, I love myself. What are you talking about? But when you start taking that really intentional look at yourself and the behaviors that you're doing, why you're doing the things you're doing, why you're allowing certain people to be in your space that really don't deserve to be in your damn space. You know what I'm saying? Why you allowing yourself to stay in relationships way longer than, but sure, they really worth my time. I was in a relationship for 4 years and I was like, at the end of it, I'm like, I'm trying to prove to this man that I love him. Why? Do I love me enough? Why is his love, am I loving him more than I'm loving me? Why are you loving that chick more than you loving yourself? That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, definition of insanity, doing the same things over and over again, expecting a different result. Honey, you in relationship after relationship. You allowing people to do certain things to you. Why? Why? Why are you doing that? You don't love yourself enough. That's a self-love issue. Roger says, start putting it out in the atmosphere, what you're going to do, and put in the work. Like, that's what you have to do. And so what is that? I kept hearing, I believe in messages. I'm open. I'm listening to the universe. I'm asking God to speak to me. And so people are like, what do you mean you asking God to speak to you? Like, it's not like back in the day where it's going to be like, hey, God, but like you waiting for the voice to come down, right? No, but if you are open and you are paying attention, right? Then you start thinking about stuff. Lord, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to go? How am I supposed to handle this? You'll hear a message. Turn on Facebook. Something going to come across. You're going to see a message. You're going to turn on the radio. It's going to be on the radio. You're going to talk to a friend. You're going to be like, damn, I was just thinking. Damn, I was just wondering how I could. Stuff will just start popping up on you, right? Pay attention to the signs. When I hear things 3 times, that's the Trinity for me. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, honey, that's the Trinity. Okay, I heard this 3 times. That's my goal, right? So for me, my finances have always been up and down. I've had periods of times where I've had some thousands of dollars in the bank, and I've had periods of time where I have had zero money in the bank. In my life, and my finances have been so inconsistent, right? But I've always been a jumper. I always jump into situations. I've always been that person, like, if I work extra and I work a double shift, I'm like, oh yeah, I have some extra money. And you call me like, hey sis, I need $100. I'm like, oh my God, I just worked. This $100 must be for you. And I will give it away. I will go without in order to help somebody that I love. Is that bad? I had a thing where I did where it was like, you getting to know yourself. So I took this test, and the test, it said that said that my number one gift is that I'm a giver, right? And it said that it was also my damn kryptonite. That was the thing that was going to hurt me the most, because I give just freely, right? Kevin, the jump alarm, for real. And it's like, I will jump and then I'll be in some shit and I'm like, oh God, this is shit. Wait a minute. Wait. I'm not supposed to be in this shit. It looked like it was going to be flowers at first. It's not flowers. What the hell? Right? Straight up. Like, you have to, and it's a gift and a curse being a jumper. Like, sometimes people take things and they think about them for so damn long. It's like, yo, make a decision already. Let's go. But other times you have to take the time to know yourself enough. So now, because I know that I'm a jumper, right? I'm going to still jump, but I'm going to make sure that it's situations that is worthy of my feet being planted over there. Right? That's what you got to do. So I do give. You do. I give. I said this yesterday in a podcast. I said, I was back, especially, just not even so long ago, before I started this very intentional healing journey. And this is why you have to get intentional about your life, guys, and you have to know yourself. Like, you think you know yourself, but you don't know yourself. You think you know. Look, you think you know, but you don't know. If you haven't done some mirror work and taken the time to figure out, why am I picking the people I'm picking? Why am I allowing the things that I'm allowing? Why do I eat the way that I eat? I'm an emotional eater. Like, I didn't know that. But whenever I'm upset about something, guess what I was doing? Hit straight to a drive-through. French fries made it better for me. Mozzarella sticks made it better for me. Oh, don't get me started on a banana split. Who made it better for me? I realized, guess what? People are addicted to a lot of things. Some people drugs, some people alcohol. Guess what? Food for me. Food addiction is serious. It's real. I'm addicted. It's a problem. I gotta be aware. Why am I making the decisions I'm making? Why are you doing the things that you're doing? Right? Over and over and over again. Again, the definition of insanity. So for me on that financial hump, I kept hearing this thing, rich dad, poor dad. I kept saying, look, let me get my thing. I kept hearing this over and over and over again. I'm going, why the hell do I keep hearing about this? Every time I'm like, oh yeah, I heard about the book. It's old. I've heard about the book over and over again. But it kept coming up. So guess what I said? You know what? Let me go get the damn book. Because it must be meant for me to read this book. It must be something in here that I need. So I went and got the book. I'm like, you know what? And then I thought, because I am a community builder, you know what? If I'm thinking this way, if I'm feeling like this, where my finances are up and down, guess what? I'm not the only one. I am you and you are me. We're all dealing with the same things. We're all having the same issues. We're just embarrassed about it. Right? Everybody fronting, everybody out here acting like they all right when they not. You know what I'm saying? If you would have, before Facebook took my old page, but if you would have scrolled down that Facebook page, honey, I was always laughing, smiling, joking. But guess what? I would be home. And I feel like when I was out, I was happy. But at night when I was at home, I was what? I was worried. I was having panic attacks. I was having depression. I'm having insomnia. I can't sleep. I'm worried about everything, this and that, and how I'm going to do and whatever else. Right? And since my big mom and my dad passed, it just got loud. I feel like we all worry about, different things. That's normal. It is what it is. But when it gets so loud that it consumes you, that it robs you of sleep, that's a whole nother thing. When it gets so loud that it was making me late for work every day. I was having panic attacks in the morning. I didn't even realize I was losing space of time, y'all. I didn't even know what was going on. It was depression. It was grief. It was way past depression. It was grief. And we we have these levels of grief that we don't even know is existing in us, right? It's uncomfortable. It's just not a conversation you just want to be talking about, right? It's just not like, it just don't feel good. It make you feel some kind of way, right? But you going through it. When I say statistically, it said 1 in 5. That means if you in a crowded room full of everybody, or even if you out with your homeboys and you just out at the club, guess what? How many people in that room if you doing 1 out of 5? And again, I feel like it's half. If you really just want to be honest, but nobody wants to be honest about it. And so one of the things that I know for sure that affects my spirit is when my finances are low, I feel some kind of way about myself. I have been at various ages and stages of my life where I feel like, damn, Michelle, you're supposed to be over this by now. You're supposed to be at this point in your life by now. You should have this by now. You should be this and you should be that, right? And all of this negative self-talk, it consumes you. It takes over. But we don't talk about this stuff. Again, we don't talk about it. So I'm talking about it. But not only am I talking about it, I was like, this is the number one book. When I look very intentionally, I started watching people. I'm watching different podcasts. I'm listening to people because it say, if you want to get somewhere, watch people that are where you want to be, right? Everyone references this book. Everyone. I don't care what level you're on. I mean, your Grant Cardones, your billionaires, your richest people in the world references this book. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing every day. I'm going to read a chapter out of this book. Because guess what? Somebody else needs this information. Somebody not going to go buy the book. But guess what? If you hear, I don't feel like it's a coincidence because I don't believe in coincidences. And if it's not for you, it's not for you, but it's for somebody. If it's for the one, that's where I'm at with it. So this is what we doing for the next 10 days because guess what? It's 10 chapters. Every day I'm going to read a chapter. Every day I'm going to read a chapter. And this is what we're doing. I'm like, the finances affects your mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, if you didn't know. This is how God's timing works. I was like, the Lord gave me this whole message, and it's Mental Health Awareness Month. Perfect. It affects finances, affects me to the 10th power. So let me go into the introduction, y'all. Hey, Sermon. Sermon said ADHD, PTSD, depression, panic attacks, anxiety are really hard to deal with. If you need a permanent solution to that using psychedelic healing, get in touch with, I don't know who that is, on Instagram. They are the best. They ship discreetly too. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thanks, Roderick. Roderick said, gotta run. I'm glad I motivated you, boo. That is the purpose. Hey, Deanna. Yes, great. This is a great book. I started reading it yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just save it. I'm not even gonna look at it beforehand because I want to experience this with you guys. Somebody is supposed to somebody's supposed to get this. So this is the introduction. This is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is Robert Kiyosaki. This is their 25-year anniversary was last year. 25 anniversary. So it has, he said, along the way they have done updates, but the core of the message is still in here. It says it's just reigned true for the past 25 years. So this is an introduction we're going to go over today. Introduction to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It says, having two dads offered me the choice of contrasting points of view, one of a rich man and one of a poor man. Here we go. I had two fathers, a rich one and a poor one. One was highly educated and intelligent. He had a PhD and completed 4 years of undergraduate work in less than 2 years. He then went on to Stanford University, to the University of Chicago, and Northwestern University to do his advanced studies, all on full financial scholarships. The other father never finished the 8th grade. Both men were successful in their careers, working hard all their lives. Both earned substantial incomes, yet one always struggled financially. The other would become one of the richest men in Hawaii. One died, leaving tens of millions of dollars to his family, charities, and his church. The other left bills to be paid when he died. Isn't that something? I read that yesterday. I read the introduction yesterday, y'all. When I said, damn, I'm trying to be the rich dad. I'm trying to leave my family with some tens and millions of dollars. It is that whole thing. You're supposed to leave a legacy. You know what I mean? He said the other left bills to be paid when he died. I'm like, damn. Both were strong, charismatic, and influential. Both men offered me advice, but they did not advise the same things. Both men believed strongly in education, but did not recommend the same course of study. If I had only one dad, I would have had to accept or reject his advice. Having two dads offered me the choice of contrasting points of view, one of a rich man and one of a poor man. Instead of simply accepting or rejecting one or the other, I found myself thinking, comparing, and then choosing for myself. The problem was that the rich man was not yet rich, and the poor man was not yet poor. Both were just starting out in their careers, and both were struggling with money and families. But they had very different points of views about money. For example, one would say, the love of money is the root of all evil. How many of us heard that? Money, 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 money. The other said, the lack of money is the root of all evil. As a young boy, having two strong fathers both influencing me was difficult. I wanted to be a good son and listen, but the two fathers did not say the same things. The contrast in their points of view, particularly about money, was so extreme that I grew curious and intrigued. I began to start thinking for long periods of time about what each was saying. Much of my private time was spent reflecting, gathering myself questions such as, why does he say that? And then asking the same question of the other dad's statement. It would have been much easier to simply say, yeah, he's right. I agree with that. Or to simply reject the point of view by saying, that old man doesn't know what he's talking about. But instead, having two dads whom I loved forced me to think and ultimately choose a way of thinking for myself. As a process, choosing for myself turned out to be much more valuable in the long run than simply accepting or rejecting a single point of view. Think about this. Think about finances. Where did you learn your financial mindset from? Like, where did you learn about money? Right? It is this thing because his concept is money and how to deal with money and what to do with money is not taught in schools. And so you're left to learn it at home. And if you don't have a parent or somebody in your life that's pouring into you on that financial level, what are you going to be thinking about? How are you going to learn? And are you learning then just by their example? So when I say I'm a jumper with my money too, right? I will, if I have money, and I'm not like this now because I'm a little more, but when I was younger, in 20s and 30s, I definitely would splurge, right? If I had it, I'm splurging. You know, we're getting whatever, we're going wherever, we're buying whatever. I don't care how much it costs. It doesn't matter. I hate it. I don't look at prices. You call me and ask me, people ask me all the time, how much was it? What did it cost? I don't know. I needed it. I got it. I don't know what it costs. I don't care. I got it. What difference does it make? My dad is like that. My biological father is like that. If he has the money, he got it. You got it, right? It's not a big deal. It doesn't matter. And so I'm asking you to start thinking about, where did you learn, right? Your concept of spending money, saving, and all of that. Where did you get that from? Where did you learn it from? And is it good? Are you okay with it? Or do you need to be open to something else? Coming on. One of the reasons the rich get richer and the poor get poorer and the middle class struggles in debt is that the subject of money is taught at home and not in school. Most of us learn about money from our parents. So what can poor parents tell their children about money? They simply stay in school and study hard. How many of us have heard that? That's me. The child may graduate with excellent grades, but with a poor person's financial programming and mindset. Sadly, money is not taught in schools. Schools focus on scholastic and professional skills, but not on financial skills. This explains why smart bankers, doctors, accountants who earn excellent grades may struggle financially all of their lives. Our staggering national debt is due in large part to highly educated politicians and governmental officials making financial decisions with little to no training in the subject of money. Ain't that strange? Isn't that crazy? Let me read that again. Our staggering national debt is due in large to highly educated politicians and governmental officials making financial decisions with little to no training in the subject of money. That's crazy. Today, I often wonder what will happen when we have millions of people who need financial and medical assistance. They will be dependent upon their families or government for financial support. What will happen when Medicare and Social Security run out of money? This is scary because this is where we at now, right? How will a nation survive if teaching children about money continues to be left to parents, most of whom will be or already are poor? Because I had two influential fathers, I learned from both of them. I had to think about each dad's advice, and in doing so, I gained valuable insight into the power and effect on one's thoughts on one's life. For example, and guys, we're reading, if you're just joining, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. For example, one dad had a habit of saying, I can't afford it. The other dad forbade those words to be used. He insisted. I ask, how can I afford it? One is a statement and the other is a question. This is all about a shift in mindset, guys. When you are shifting how you look at things, when you're shifting how you process things, when you are shifting how you take things in, makes a tremendous difference in your finances, in your love life, in every aspect, in your work, in every aspect, in how you deal with yourself and how you deal with people, all of it. Shifting your mindset. One dad asks, how can I afford it? One is a statement and the other is a question. One lets you off the hook and the other forces you to think. My soon-to-be rich dad would explain that by automatically saying the words, I can't afford it, your brain stops working. How many of us say this? I can't afford it. Take it out your vocabulary. Take it out. Take it out your vocabulary. My soon-to-be rich dad, I got to read that again. My soon-to-be rich dad would explain that by automatically saying the words, I can't afford it, your brain stops working. By asking the question, how can I afford it, your brain is put to work. He did not mean that you should buy everything that you want. He was fanatical about exercising your mind, the most powerful computer in the world. He'd say, my brain gets stronger every day because I exercise it. The stronger it gets, the more money I can make. He believed that automatically saying, I can't afford it, was a sign of mental laziness. Look, I'm like, if you, Pastor used to say, if you can't say nothing, just say ouch. I'm like, ouch. Mental laziness. Although both dads worked hard, I noticed that one dad had a habit of putting his brain to sleep when it came to finances, and the other had a habit of exercising his brain. The long-term result was that one dad grew stronger financially and the other grew weaker. It is not much different from a person who goes to the gym to exercise on a regular basis versus someone who sits on the couch watching television. Proper physical exercise increases your chances for health, and proper mental exercise increases your chances for wealth. My dads had opposing attitudes that affected the way they thought. One dad thought the rich should pay more in taxes to take care of the less fortunate. The other dad said taxes punish those who produce and reward those who don't produce. One dad recommended study hard so you can find a good company to work for. The other recommended study hard so you can find a good company to buy. Is that a different conversation? One dad said, "The reason I'm not rich is because I have you kids." That's some shit to say. The other said, "The reason I must be rich is because I have you kids." That's where I'm at. One encouraged talking about money and business at the dinner table, while the other forbade the subject of money to be discussed over a meal. One said, "When it comes to money, play it safe. Don't take risk." The other said, "Learn to manage risk." One believed, "Our home is our largest investment and our greatest asset." The other believed, "My house is a liability, and if your house is your largest investment, you're in trouble." Both dad paid their bills on time, yet one paid his bills first while the other paid his bills last. One dad believed in a company or the government taking care of you and your needs. He was always concerned about pay raises, retirement plans, medical benefits, sick leave, vacation days, and other perks. He was impressed with two of his uncles who joined the military and earned a retirement and an entitlement package for life after 20 years of active service. He loved the idea of medical benefits and PX privileges the military provided as retirees. He also loved the tenure system available through the university. The idea of job protection for life and job benefits seemed more important at times than the job. He would often say, "I've worked for the government and I'm entitled to these benefits." The other believed in total financial self reliance. He spoke up against the entitlement mentality, how it created weak and financially needy people. He was empathetic about being financially competent. One dad struggled to save a few dollars. The other created investments. One dad taught me how to write an impressive resume so I could find a good job. The other taught me how to write a strong business and financial plan so I could create jobs. That is the difference. We have this mindset that, we're supposed to work and work and work and work. There was a period of point in time in my life where I felt like I would die a bedside nurse. Like, you just couldn't tell me anything different. In my 20s, I worked hard. That's all I could see. I worked hard in school. I thought, you know what? This is all that I'm going to do. This is what I wanted. It's all I wanted to do. I didn't see anything different. I was like this, tunnel vision. I didn't see anything else for my life. I didn't see me doing anything. I worked hard. I went to school. I got, fairly good grades. Excuse me. I know I'm supposed to be a nurse. This is my purpose. That's it. I'm done. Okay, I'm going to work. I got my great job. I'll be here. I'm going to do the work. And then 7 years in, I was burnt out. Nurse burnout. It's very real, right? You get burnt out from, being used and abused by this system that you realize doesn't care about you. You're pouring into a company or a system that doesn't care about you. Don't care about your well-being. Don't care about your sick child. They want you to come to work. They want you to do your 12 hours. They don't care about your story, right? And so it is, you have to start shifting, because at some point you're going to have to choose you. At some point, you're going to have to get to a point where you realize, if I die tomorrow, this job is going to continue to go. And they're going to step over me. Be like that picture in New York you saw when COVID happened. The New Yorkers just kept walking. People were dying on the street, honey. People just step right over and life goes on. You got to keep going. You got to make this money. Got to get this paper. Think about it. I'm just saying. The other taught me how to write strong business and financial plans so that I could create jobs. That's where I'm at. Being a product of two strong dads allowed me the luxury of observing the effects different thoughts have on one's life. I noticed that people really do shape their lives through their thoughts. For example, my poor dad always said, "I'll never be rich." And that prophecy became a reality. My rich dad, on the other hand, always referred to himself as rich. He would say things like, "I'm a rich man, and rich people don't do this." Even when he was flat broke, after a major financial setback, he continued to refer to himself as a rich man. He would cover himself by saying, "There's a difference between being a poor." He said, "There's a difference between being poor and being broke. Broke is temporary, poor is eternal." Guys, if that ain't a word, that's a word right there. The Bible says there is life and death in the tongue, honey. There's so much power in your tongue and what you are speaking over yourself. Even when I'm walking through darkness, I'm like, you know what? I'm in this darkness right now, Lord. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know when it's going to end, but I know that it's going to be over soon. I know trouble don't last always. I know storms don't last always. Being poor and being broke. Broke is temporary. Poor is eternal. How do you see yourself? It makes a tremendous difference. What are you saying to yourself? Because what you're saying, you think it's not a big deal. But guess who's listening? Your spirit, your mind, your body, your emotions. So if you feel like you're broke, if you feel like you poor, be it money or just in life, you will be. But just like this dad said, honey, broke is temporary. It's your mentality. It is your mentality. Shifting your mindset. How are you looking at things? We focusing on the negative. Oh, I'ma always be. Oh, I'ma always. This always happened to me, so it don't even matter. No, it does. It does. And no, it doesn't have to be that way. It's like this today, but that don't have to be my tomorrow. Oh man, I ain't no point in me being in no relationship because I ain't never gonna find all these men out here, dogs, all these chicks out here, I'm in a space and a place where I don't know where my husband is. But he out there somewhere. I don't know where he at. He out there somewhere while I'm waiting. While I'm waiting for him to come to check off all of my little things that I need. It's not a lot. Just don't judge me. It's not a lot. I'm just saying, but I have stuff that I need checked off, right? While you out there waiting in the process, get yourself together. Check, right? Talk to yourself. Lay down the laws that you need. Write it down in your little journal. How do you see yourself? And the negative things that you see, guess what? You can fix them. Is my body where I want it to be? No, it's not. But you know what? As long as I'm on this side of heaven, I got time. I can change anything. I can fix it. I got to put the work in. Mentality, baby. Mentality. My poor dad would say, "I'm not interested in money," or "money doesn't matter." My rich dad would say, "Money is power." The power of our thoughts may never be measured or appreciated, but it became obvious to me as a young boy that it was important to be aware of my thoughts and how I express myself. I noticed that my poor dad was poor, not because of the amount of money he earned, which was significant, but because of his thoughts and actions. As a young boy having two fathers, I became acutely aware of being careful about which thoughts I chose to adopt as my own. Should I listen to my rich dad or to my poor dad? Guys, we're reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad by by Mr. Robert Kiyosaki. Although both men had tremendous respect for education and learning, they disagreed about what they thought was important to learn. One wanted me to study hard, earn a degree, get a great job to earn money. He wanted me to study to become a professional, an attorney or an accountant, and to go to business school for my MBA. The other encouraged me to study to be rich, to understand how money works, and to learn how to have it work for me. I don't work for money, were words he would repeat over and over again. Money works for me. At the age of 9, I decided to learn from my rich dad about money. In doing so, I chose not to listen to my poor dad, even though he was the one with all the college degrees. Wow. Wow. Then it says a lesson from Robert Frost. Robert Frost is my favorite poet. Although I love many of his poems, my favorite is The Road Not Taken. I use its lessons almost daily. So this is The Road Not Taken. It says, two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as far that the passing there had warned them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no steps had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way. I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in the woods, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. I feel like, this is that. Wait a minute. Let me say my thought. And that has made all the difference. Over the years, I have often reflected upon Robert Frost's poem. Choosing not to listen to my highly educated dad's advice and attitude about money was a painful decision, but it was a decision that shaped the rest of my life. Once I made up in my mind about whom to listen to, my education about money began. My rich dad taught me over a period of 30 years until I was 39 years old. He stopped once he realized that I knew and fully understood what he had been trying to drum into my often thick skull. Money is one form of power, but what is more powerful is financial education. Money comes and goes, but if you have the education about how money works, you gain power over it and can begin building wealth. The reason positive thinking alone does not work is because most people went to school and never learned how money works. So they spend their lives working for money. Because I was only 9 years old when I started, the lessons my rich dad taught me were simple. And when it was all said and done, there was only 6 main lessons repeated over 30 years. This book is about those 6 lessons, put as simply as possible, just as simply as my rich dad put forth those lessons to me. The lessons are meant not to be answers, but guideposts that will assist you and your children and your families to grow wealthier no matter what happens in a world of increasing change and uncertainty. And so that is just the introduction. And how much do we even get out of just the introduction, guys? I'm so excited about this book. I'm so excited about, stepping outside of my comfort zone and trying something different. Why not? The definition, again, of insanity is doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. So why not try this? Why not try something different? Why not learn these principles that are not offered to me, or haven't been offered to me thus far? Why not share them? Because I don't want to just be the only one growing. I don't want to be the only one in the know, right? That's a gift and a curse for me. Like, I want what's best for everybody. I don't want to be the only one. I'm that type of person where if I learn something, if I know something, I'm like, oh, everybody needs to know this. Oh, this is good. I'm going to put it out there. It's on you to take it, learn it, or not learn it. I would say, if you want to join along with me every day, hey, come on and join along with me every day. Go out and get the book for yourself. Maybe if you're not a book reader, I know I'm not generally a book reader. That's why this is huge for me. This is huge for me because I don't go buy books. I don't. If it ain't had nothing to do with nursing, I wish I could show you all my bookshelves. Anybody that's been in my house knows I got books for days, but guess what? They all pertain to nursing. They all pertain to something that has to do with nursing, right? So I got books for days. I would say most of them, the majority of them. If it's 100 books, maybe 15 of them don't have to do with nursing. You see what I'm saying? But I will listen to a book. So I'll say to you guys that are not like, oh my God, I don't read books like that. Oh my God. I stepped outside of my comfort zone and got an Audible, membership, some years back, because I will look at these people that have read books all the time. I'm like, dang, I want to be that person. I'm so tired. I don't feel like reading. I want to read, but I don't want to read. I'm that person like, that sounds so good. Yeah. And then people that just read just to read, like they read those novels and stuff. I'm like, I want to be one of those people. No, I ain't got that kind of time. I ain't got that kind of energy. I ain't got that kind of time, nor that kind of energy. So this, guys, this is why this is huge for me, because I'm stepping all the way outside of my comfort zone. I'm stepping all the way outside of my comfort zone just to share, to just be transparent, right? But I truly believe that I am you and you are me. We are all dealing with the same things. We all want the same things out of life. We all want what's best for ourselves, for our family. We all want to be better than we were the day before, I believe. You know what I mean? I just truly, genuinely believe that. I believe God brings people to me, the people that are around it, the people that I'm connected to, want to be better than they were yesterday. Not perfect, just better. You know what I'm saying? Like, just make some better decisions, make some better choices. Because yesterday, I didn't know, so I made some other choices, but I want to do better. I want to know a little bit more. I want to do better. So that's it. That's it. That's it. So mind these technical difficulties. I will be here around 9ish tomorrow. I was supposed to be around last night. It's been a hot mess with these technical difficulties, I'm gonna just say. But I'm gonna promise you what, I'm gonna muster through the technical difficulties every day. So if you don't see my face, best believe I'm a post. It's gonna be an audio. I'm gonna say something. That's what I did yesterday. I was like, okay, I can't go live, no problem. Let me post this audio, no problem. So again, I'm wrapping up, but I want to share, like, this week, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. Grief is one of those things that we all kind of go through. And grief, guys, is just simply a loss. right? I used to think of grief as like somebody had to die, somebody had to pass away, but it's not even that. It is just a loss. And so what I know for sure, and I have, like, if you follow me, if you go on my on 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 my link tree or whatever, I have free, information. I have workshops and stuff that I've done, that go into a little more detail, but and talk about grief, and will give you a test for depression and anxiety so you'll know where you are. Just because one of the things that I learned is that I didn't know, you know what I mean? I didn't know that I was having depression. I didn't know the panic attack. I didn't know what was happening. And I was a nurse. Like, I know stuff. I felt like, man, I should know this stuff, but I didn't know. I didn't know. And it's different to help somebody than for you to be in that thing, right? It's like I could go help people get out of a lot of stuff, but to help yourself get out of some things. And so that's one of the reasons why I created this program. My program is Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free, because we out there helping and doing and being for everybody else. And we the ones that need the help sometimes, right? Who's going to help the helper? That's my purpose. I'm here to help the helpers, right? The helpers of the world, the helper bees of the world that are out there going and doing and being for everybody else and putting yourself last. Because that's who I am. I was out there helping everybody else and putting myself last. And I understand at this point in my life, I can't help anybody else until I help myself. I had to take some time to help myself first. You got to fill your cup. Miss Iyanla Vanzant, in my favorite video, is her and Oprah. And she talks about pouring. You can't pour into anybody else's cup until you fill your cup. What's in the cup is mine, and what comes out of the cup is yours. Those are her words. I'm visual, so I'm looking at it like, yes, I need my cup full. You need your cup full before you go try and help anybody else. And the life that I want to live, I want to be one of those people like Ellen and like Oprah. You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. I want to be that person. That's the life I'm trying to live. I'm trying to get to those levels of wealth and abundance, right? I want to be that type of stuff. What makes me happy. Like, I'm happy seeing people get stuff and get to where they want to be and their goals and everything. Like, I'm rooting for you. Right? I'm rooting for you. I need you to know that. Like, if you think there's nobody out here in this world that care, honey, I care, and I'm rooting for you. I want to see you get to the next level of your life. I feel like you deserve it. You deserve it. As we all have been through some things and we just feel like we don't deserve it. But that's a lie. That's the devil, like, on your shoulder with his little negative ass. Pluck his ass off your shoulder. I said you deserve it. All right, so I'm going to end this book. I found, and I'm being obedient now, guys, because I wasn't. I found this book 2 years ago. God gave me grief. He gave me grief. I had a whole nother message. If y'all have seen my Success Fest message, or if you haven't, again, it's on my link tree. It's all about grief. I had a completely different message. I recorded the message, and then I paid $75 to re-record because God gave me a whole nother message. The guy was like, my producer was like, you gonna pay $75? Yeah, I'm gonna pay the money because God gave me a whole nother message. I gotta be obedient. Like, you ever had something that's so like, you can't ignore it? I was like, damn it, I really don't have the $75, but I paid it anyway. So God gave me grief, and it is because I truly believe that the world is grieving. We have all suffered some loss, whether it is a loss of life, somebody that we loved, right? Or it's a loss of relationships. It's a loss of this idea that I thought my life would be this. This person was in my life. We were building and growing and doing together, and now it's gone. How am I supposed to move on, and how am I supposed to shift and get from those thoughts? Because I wanted that life. It was so perfect, right? I believe that there's so many people, more people than we know, that we acknowledge, that are grieving. And depression is a stage in grief. And so I know that to be true. So every day I have a book, 365 Days of Prayer for Grief and Loss. And so today, on May the 2nd, 2023, it says, the title says, Comforting Words. The precepts of the Lord are right, giving joy to the heart. The commands of the Lord are radiant, giving light to the eyes. That's Psalms 19:8. It says, Lord, this is the prayer for the day. This is my prayer for you. Lord God, your guiding principles are perfect, and your instructions always come from a full heart of love. When I remember that you are for me and my good, as well as for the benefit of those around me, I can trust that your teachings are pure and right. As I follow your ways of love, I will find the peace and joy that I long for deep within. Your insight is radiant with hope and will never lead me astray. Ain't that faith? Yes. Today, I will look to your words of wisdom for direction. I will align my actions with the fruit of your spirit, which you make abundantly clear in your word. Where fear has kept me stagnant. How many of us out there with fear? Lord have mercy, that's a whole nother talk we'll have. I did a view on that too. Where fear has kept me stagnant. Your love leads me in freedom. When I don't know which way to go or what decision to make, I will look to you. It is in this place that I will find the keys for life that will enlighten me to make insightful choices. And so the question of the day, and the question that I leave you with as we journey along in this faith walk, in our finances, in our relationships, in our situationships, in our forgiveness for ourselves, and forgiveness with others. When you are trying to make a decision, what is your process? When you're trying to make a decision, what is your process? What are you leaning on? Who are you looking to for guidance? Who do you go to? Do you have somebody who you trust them so much that you letting them lead and guide your life instead of you leading and guiding your life for yourself? Are you allowing what your mama said and what your daddy said to ring so highly in your mind that you're not making the decisions on what's best for yourself, that you're leading and guiding for them, that you're living for someone else? That's basically what this introduction of Rich Dad and Poor Dad is. Isn't that crazy how that aligns? God is amazing. God is amazing. How it all aligns, like this isn't planned. I promise you in everything that I love. But he's so divine. Like it just always lines up. This introduction to Rich Dad and Poor Dad, he talked about how he had to make a decision for himself. His dad, one dad was telling him to do one thing and another dad was telling him to do another. But he had to make the decision, what was best for me? So what do you do in this life? What I do is I take a little bit from everybody. I'm taking a little bit from my dad, my father. I'm taking a little bit from my stepdad. I'm taking a little bit from my mom. I'm taking a little bit from Oprah. I'm taking a little bit from Tyler. I'm taking a little bit from Maya Angelou. I'm taking something from you. I'm taking something from each and every person that has come across in my life, because I believe people are in your life for a reason. It's all lessons and blessings. And once you get that down in your spirit, it's so much easier to let people go. It's so much easier to let situations go. It's so much easier to forgive. What is a lesson and a blessing? All right, fam. Look, I have poured today. I ain't got nothing else for you today. But I'll be back tomorrow. Look, with something for my lips, because my lips are dry. I need to drink me some water. I'm sorry. I digress. I need to drink me some water. All right. Good family. As my man, Mr. Les Brown, and I have incorporated this in my spirit. Mr. Les Brown said, the most expensive place in the world is the graveyard, because there are so many people that have passed away with such amazing gifts that they're not using them, right? And so my prayer for you is that maybe something was said that I will allow you, maybe I'll say something that you will be inspired to walk in your gift, to maybe start thinking about that thing that you've been thinking about, to maybe that idea that you've been just procrastinating about, as we all do. Maybe you'll be inspired. Maybe you'll look at yourself differently in the mirror today and love what you see and work on the things that you don't like. Maybe you'll love yourself enough. Maybe you'll start today to decide to pluck the devil off your shoulder. I believe when one walks in their purpose, you will inspire others to walk in theirs. That's what I'm doing. What you doing? All right. Y'all have a good one.